Hey guys, this is Tiffany, and I'm here to review the latest episode of The Walking Dead called The Damned. And, of course, it brought immediately to mind the Village of the Damned. And it's kind of weird I'm doing this video dressed like this. I've got my Hamilton dress on. Yay, Hamilton. But yeah, so just wanted to talk about this episode a little bit. This is still the new season, Season 8, Episode 2. 101! Not 101 Dalmatians, 101 episodes. Can you believe it? It's crazy. Anyway, so it starts off with the Damned with this weird fog, and it's kind of like there's not a lot to say about this episode really. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I wasn't the biggest fan of this particular episode. There were a few high points, but the massive amount of gunfire just was pretty much this whole episode. It's like, as they say in Boudon States, there was a firefight. I mean, that's pretty much this episode in a nutshell. So, it's panning through all the characters. Like, the way they're doing their videography this season is a little weird. But yeah, it's got like a weird fog and panning over the characters' faces, and they all look like that kind of deep in contemplation and life, the universe, and everything. What does it all mean? Kind of, almost like reflecting, like having that existential thing of where they were to where they've come yet again. So, yeah, and then you see so many things happen at once. Like, you see Mari gets attacked, and open fire on. It goes to Carol and Ezekiel, they're both having this conversation. He's now it's focused on him giving this pep talk to his crew. They're ready to go into battle. He's gung-ho and believes in his team, and it's almost like Carol seems to be questioning, how can you still smile? And and knowing what's going on, knowing what we're facing, how can you be so optimistic and look at the future as still being so bright? And he said, the one thing I loved about this episode, I will say, is just his speech, and one of my absolute favorite quotes I've heard from this show so far. He actually says, and I quote, "We move forward as we move the very world forward." And that is so amazingly profound, because it's very true. He continues to move forward because he doesn't look at it as himself and what he's lost, but rather what the world is going to maybe gain by, all this happening, and what will happen in the future. So he's trying to be as optimistic as you can be in these circumstances. But then it goes to this confrontation with Jesus and Tara, because they encounter this guy in a closet. He's peed himself, and he holds his hands up and he surrenders. And the whole thing is, like Rick has said before, we can't let any enemy go or not hurt them, because obviously in the past those enemies that they've let go have come back with a vengeance, and it's ended up being bad, and there's been a lot of repercussions. So he's always said, don't leave them alive. So Tara's argument here, as they're debating on whether to keep this guy alive or not, is Tara's like, well, Rick will side with me. He would want this guy dead. We should just kill him. Doesn't matter if he's giving up. Whereas Jesus is having that kind of conscious thought of, I can't just kill a man who's surrendering, So, unfortunately, the guy proceeds to overtake Jesus and hold him at gunpoint, and he's able to extricate himself, luckily, and he still, though, doesn't kill him. Instead, he chooses to kind of knock him out and tie him up. And Tara is still very baffled, why won't you? I mean, obviously he's made it clear that he's against us. He's threatened our lives already, and yours specifically, by holding you at gunpoint to your head, and yet you're letting him go. So it's it's like that weird kind of question of, who's really telling the truth of, they're surrendering, and, what's the POW, like, way of thinking here, I guess. So, but it goes to Morgan. Like, we thought maybe he got shot and possibly killed or hurt by someone, but he's perfectly fine. He's laying there, and he looks over, like, as he comes to, sees this guy, and it's like so creepy because he's laying on the floor right next to a dead guy, and the guy almost looks, his mouth is still moving, and he looks like he's smiling. It's like a really creepy face. But so yeah, that happens. One thing I noticed too about this episode, like, they were so really concerned about ammo, concerned about having enough guns to make this, war happen. But yet, this episode specifically, there seems to be an endless amount of ammo happening here. I don't know what's going on, or maybe, we're just seeing a specific side of it or something. I don't know. But they seem to have quite a lot of ammo that they're using on these people. So, anyway, Rick gets attacked by this guy. It's like again, this episode, like, the high points, like, points of intrigue are really short-lived. Like, they scuffle and he throws him against a wall spike and he dies. Okay. And then Morgan seems to be having kind of that existential crisis as well, because look where he came. He used to be very, very, like, lost in his thoughts whenever his son was killed, when Dwayne was killed. And, he met the man who taught him peace and, basically harmony, and almost like the idea of Zen and being one with yourself, and, realizing there's more than just you. Just kind of like, but now he's gone more into, like, kill or be killed survival mode, and he seems to be struggling still, maybe somewhat, with that idea, because he remembers Rick's words, like, you can't leave them alive, you have to kill them all. And he's, in badass mode, like, killing all these people, like, and shooting, different people without, no questions, you shoot first, no questions are asked, kind of thing. And he goes outside where Jesus and Tara and their group have cornered these people at one of these hideouts and they're surrendering. And Tara is, wanting to shoot them and just let them die. Whereas Jesus, because they're surrendering, he wants to take them as prisoners or whatever here. And Tara doesn't want to take that chance. And she actually says, whatever you may think, Rick would still side with me, on this specific issue. And even Morgan, like, sees one of the guys and goes over and is about to kill him, and it's hard. I mean, everybody's kind of having their own ideas of this. It's really rough to, I'm sure, deal with. But it goes back to Rick. Rick finds this baby, her name is Gracie, in a crib. Like, we don't really know what's going on here or whose it is, and he just kind of has a moment where he's just killed a guy. I don't know if it was his or what's going on there, but he looks at himself in the mirror and just seems to study himself, like having that, who are you now? Like, what are you now? I mean, it's a question of humanity and morals. Like, I don't even know where his headspace is right now, because obviously he has 2 kids now that he's watching over. So, but anyway, Carol and Ezekiel are in the woods. They track this blood down, and they're trying to find these people that that they need to get rid of. And of course Shiva comes in, like, lunging, and they meet up with their compatriots, and of course Shiva has her little moment. And during the bustle, Eric is hurt very badly. He's bleeding profusely from his stomach, like from the side of his stomach, and it's bad. Like, it's bubbling out of his abdomen, and it's obviously very, very bad and will be fatal very quickly. And basically this episode ends with Rick being confronted by Morales, of all people, Morales is here. I'm so sorry, I'm about to sneeze. But anyway, he's looking at a picture, I guess, of like Morales and his family, realizes who it is as Morales points a gun at him and says, turn around slowly, keep your hands where I can see them. And he's like, your name is Morales. You were in Atlanta. And Morales is like, yeah, that was a long time ago. Things are different now. I can radio the saviors and they'll definitely come and get you, or that type of thing. And at the very end of the episode, he's still got the gun pointed and he cocks it. That's the end of the episode. So, I mean, for me, this episode, I mean, the high points were like, I mean, Ezekiel and his kind of speech and his rhetoric that is going on with him. I mean, obviously seeing this different kind of scenario play out for Carol and the way she thinks, and it also ends like looking at each of their faces after this, I'm assuming, where we yet again where I'm sure that they're all having this weird kind of like thought process. It's war. I mean, I'm sure everybody goes through this. It's like I'm sure any soldier, any person that's ever been in war or had to deal with a crazy situation has had to go through similar thoughts at some point. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's strange to see these people who have bonded together. You know, it makes you wonder where they're at right now and what will happen because of this kind of second, thoughts on some people's parts, or kind of doubting what they should and shouldn't do. Maybe, I mean, lots of questions here, and we'll see what happens, I guess. But for me, like I said, this episode, lots of firefighting, lots of, little things here and there, and of course the thing with Morales was their kind of big thing to keep you going to the next episode. So, I mean, all in all, meh, okay. Hopefully this season will get better. Hopefully it's not a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of filler here maybe. Hopefully it's not a lot of that. We'll see what happens though. I mean, but yeah, that's all for The Damned. I definitely will continue to do The Walking Dead reviews, as well as Ruby and The Orville, as well as Star Trek Discovery. And we also do unboxings of Loot Crate, Loot Anime, Owl Crate. I've got Fandom of the Month coming, as well as Anime Bento, and we also do Scotch Box Japanese Snacks, which I will try to do this weekend with my compatriots. Yeah! And have some fun there. So we also are giving away Destiny 2 right now. So if you want to win your own copy, definitely check out that video. And you can also subscribe to our channel. That's the way to get yourself an entry. And it'll tell you how to win with that video. So definitely check that out. If you want a copy of Destiny 2 or want to give it to someone that you know. We are going to have more giveaways ramping up towards Christmas, just so to give back, because my favorite thing to do at Christmas is give back to people. So that's what I want to do for you guys, is give back, and we'll have lots of awesome giveaways to help do that. So check that out. So go ahead and subscribe so you can be ahead of the rest of everybody who's trying to enter for those giveaways, and we'll definitely be posting more about those in November. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. I really appreciate you guys stopping by, and hope to see you again later. Bye guys.